From its inception in 2013 as a Kickstarter-funded success story, she has grown the organization into a leading publisher of multilingual children's books using technology to accelerate children's literacy. With a mission to aid in solving the global literacy crisis by 2030, NABU is currently impacting the lives of over 6 million children through its low-bandwidth tech platform. They've recently launched partnerships with HP and with Girl Rising, and won the prestigious Schmidt Futures competition in learning engineering. Please join me in welcoming Daniela.
It's so great to be here, really. What I want to share with you today is a really simple innovation. It's something that I believe can help accelerate the positive impact that you want to make in the world. And it's an idea that I've spent the last 10 years of my life working on. And I'm really excited to share it with this room because I've been talking to some of you. I know how passionate you are about issues from climate change to global education to health, to women and girls empowerment. We've heard about stopping trafficking. There's so much that we can do collectively in this room if we work together. And so I'm so excited to share this idea with you and see how it might be able to amplify what you're already working on. And the idea is really simple. It's this. Let's see, hopefully, wrong button. There we go. Mother tongue books are fundamental to sustainable and inclusive community development. Now, I read that images are more easily stuck in your mind than words, so I put mother tongue books into Midjourney, and this is the image that came up. And I actually kind of love this because she looks a bit like Mother Earth, right? And one of the things about mother tongue books is that mothers and caregivers are much more likely to be involved in their children's education when that education is in a language that they speak and understand, which makes sense, right? But we can also see her potentially as the child. And just like these branches are nourishing her mind, in the same way, mother tongue books at those early levels from 0 to 5 nourish children's brains. It's like, we call it language nutrition. And it's critical to children's cognitive and emotional development. It influences their values, their sense of identity, their self-esteem, the way that they see the world. And it makes sense, right? If you speak to her in a language that she knows, that's going to positively impact how she sees herself and the world. Now, this idea of mother tongue books came to me when I was working in Haiti after the earthquake in 2010. I've been hired as executive director of a small nonprofit. We built a school for 3,000 children. It was an amazing project. That school is still going today. But what I saw in Haiti changed my approach to community development for the rest of my life. I saw all around me that even in the poorest slum areas of Cité Soleil, that people had access to mobile phones and that they were finding a way to charge them. You know, there were these little shacks on the side of the street where you could charge your phone for 0.01 cent. And that was in 2010. And so mobile phone penetration is even greater now. I know many of you, you can see you can get a smartphone wherever you are. That in Rwanda, for example, you can get a smartphone for $30. They become essential to people's lives. So I saw in Haiti that people had phones, that parents wanted their kids to have education, but there was no one building educational tools for devices that people already had in their pockets. And I realized that if I were to create an app that brought books to people on devices they already had, I could be a tool, or this platform could be a tool for millions of teachers and parents around the world. And as I'm going to share, I think it can be a tool for you too. And so we did what you do when you have no money. We did a Kickstarter campaign. We raised $100,000. We had schools all over the world reaching out to us and parents saying, if you build this, we'll use it. So we built an app for offline and low bandwidth areas. And we licensed and published a bunch of books on the app in French and Haitian Creole. And we released it to a few partner schools in Haiti. And then we waited. Now every download, every page tracked, every page on our app is tracked. And what we noticed was really interesting. So first of all, we saw this really high engagement. And then after just a few weeks, we saw usage start to drop off. And we thought, what's going on? Is the app broken? Is there something wrong with the hardware? But when we dug into the data, it turned out that the children had read every single book in Haitian Creole on the app 3 or 4 times over. But the French content had not even been touched. A couple of weeks ago, my chief technology officer was visiting a rural community library in Rwanda, one of only about 30 in the country. And this bookshelf represented the only books that were in the local language in the library. The rest were our old donated books in English or French. And these books were the only books in the library. This is what the librarian told him. These are the only books in the library that were ever checked out. And so, going back to Haiti, this is exactly what happened in our pilot in 2014. All the mother tongue books in our virtual bookstore had been read, but the rest had been untouched. And of course, it makes sense, right? If you look at Haitian society, who is it that speaks French? It's the wealthy, it's those that can afford to go to the French lycée. But if you look at the majority, the kids in Cité Soleil, they speak Haitian Creole in the playground, they speak it at home with their parents, it's their mother tongue, it's their language, it's their culture. And then they come into class and they're expected to learn in French, and they're lost. A few years later, about 2 years later, the UN published a groundbreaking report citing what we already knew, what we'd seen, that mother tongue books are one of the most cost-effective interventions in early grade literacy. The report stated that 250 million children are spending 4 or more years in school and are not even learning the basics of how to read, partly due to a lack of mother tongue instruction. That's hundreds of millions of children sitting in classrooms around the world who are completely lost. And so NABU was born. Oh, there's no sound.
Will only be achieved when every person in the world can read. Being able to read doesn't promise prosperity, opportunity, or even progress. It's the prerequisite. The ability to read is non-negotiable. It is a building block, it is a ladder, it is capital. We take inspiration from NABU, the Babylonian deity of literature and wisdom. We embody the idea of being an omnipresent network of creators and readers to address the greatest opportunity of our generation, harnessing technology to make literacy open and unbound for all. To read is to rise above what pushes humanity down. This is the promise of NABU, and it is our mission to ensure that every person on this planet can read and rise to their full potential. %
of children worldwide do not have access to books in a language that they speak or understand. And this is a huge challenge. Mother tongue resources are which prevents them, from achieving even basic literacy. Whether you want to change the face of education, global health, empower women and girls, fight racism, stop poaching, eradicate human trafficking, stop climate change, I believe that mother tongue books can be a powerful tool to amplify and share your mission to millions of children, families, and young people. Driven by a powerful content engine of mother tongue books, since 2018, readership on the NABU app has gone from 10,000 to over 6 million children and families reading across Africa, Southeast Asia, So what is that content engine? How can you be part of it? Well, the first ingredient is local artists. At NABU, we took a different approach to other organizations. Rather than just translating our old books, we trained and hired a global network of artists, authors, and illustrators to create original mother tongue stories that are authentic and reflect their local culture and perspective. The second ingredient was we created a content blueprint. This is a research-backed blueprint for the topics and genres that need to be covered in any language that can then be localized. So let's take for example, the issue of nature and the environment that we were talking about. A local artist would then take this theme and the research that NABU's created and expand upon this in a culturally sensitive way. So here's one of my favorite books, Tahiti, Who Saves Her Coral Reef. This is a book that we did with Girl Rising. It's about girl empowerment. It's about Stella, who's an engineer. It was written in Swahili in Kenya. And the final tool that we have in our toolbox is transadaptation. And this has helped us be able to publish over 500 mother tongue books a year. So we train local artists to also not only translate the language, but also adapt the illustrations to reflect their local culture. Like here with our COVID-19 collection that we worked on with UNICEF, you can see on the left, it was actually written in Rwanda, then adapted in the Philippines and also into Micronesia. This is another one of my favorite books. It's called Mouse. It was written in Rwanda, adapted in the Philippines and Romania by different artists. We have just released a tool we're going to talk about in a little bit. Every one of you could be a partner in helping us do this. We have a tool called Slate. It's kind of like a Canva-style tool. So we invite community partners to come in and transadapt NABU content with us. The reason that we have to do this, I believe, is for girls like Belize. I was really fortunate to meet Belize a few months ago. She's 8 years old. She lives in Rwanda. And I just remember visiting her community library, and she got up in front of the whole class and started reading a story. And what I loved was seeing all around the edge of the room were the mothers from the community. They'd come out to celebrate the kids that day, who were listening so intently to Belize as she was reading. She was reading Kinyarwanda, so they could understand what she was sharing. And she shared with one of our team members that she was never able to do that before, to get up in front of her class and share her ideas fearlessly. And even for her mum to actually be able to listen and be proud of her daughter and understand, this moment for her. She reads mostly on her mum's phone at home. And we're using the power of storytelling to co-create, educate, and inspire communities. We're rewriting the future together. And I can't imagine a more powerful way to influence a generation than through the stories they grow up with. Not only that, but these stories become part of oral tradition, shared with parents, grandparents, influencing a whole society. This is my mum. When she was 50 years old, my mum left her safe job in public health to start a salsa dance company in the Highlands of Scotland. People thought she was crazy if you've ever seen a Scottish man dance, but she was like, you know what, I'm going to do what I love. I'm 50, I'm going for it. And, she got a little studio that a restaurant owner gave her above the tapas bar that she would go to every week. And when I was home from college, she would drag me along with her. I'd have to promote the classes. And so every week I would go with her to her salsa dance class, to the little studio above the tapas bar. And week after week, my mum would go there, and no one would show up. But rather than just taking her dance shoes off and getting in the car, she would put the music on and just dance with this huge smile on her face. She just had so much joy. And I just really learned so much from that. eventually what I saw was that people started coming. First of all, it was one person, then two, and all of a sudden she had 3 thriving classes in Inverness. There were people getting married from her classes. She had, a Scottish salsa convention. And the reason I share that story is my hope is that we won't be dancing alone, Nexus, that we can find a way to dance together. And I believe it's up to us to figure out how we can do that. One of the things I want to share with you that we're launching today is a program called Bridge to Literacy. It's a program where we invite community partners, community organizations all around the world. We provide you with micro grants, and we co-create programs together to introduce NABU and our free reading book and resources into your community. And it's not just globally. These are some of our fellows in Miami. They're writing books in Haitian Creole. So these books can also help historically marginalized groups here in the US. Here are some of our priority countries where we're working, but we welcome applications. We invite applications from organizations all over the world. You can go to our website, nabu.org, and apply on our website to be a Bridge to Literacy partner. Of course, priority for Nexus leaders, because you are so amazing. And each partner, what's really cool is you get a dashboard as well that enables you to measure the impact of your program, the number of minutes read, the number of books downloaded, so we can track our progress together. So I want to leave you with this final image. It's a painting by Yadam Borche and a quote from Jerry Saltz. So let's go dancing together. Why? Because dancing is as old as art, and one day we won't be able to dance anymore. Thank you.